What's up guys, it's McNulty here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are all doing well. If you can hear a little bit of a pitter patter, that's because I'm sat in my car in the rain just before I go to work. But we have had the Untold Tales portal open up this morning, and we've got a pretty exciting hero in there to have a look at. So we're going to go ahead and do this breakdown. We are going to have a look at our newest hero from the Untold Tales, which is this hero called Persa. And she is just looking mean as anything. So let's have a little look at her. Let's see what she's all about. So we have a holy hero. The first one since Ephira, and I have Ephira, and she's absolutely terrible still, unfortunately. I'm sure we'll find a use for her at some point. So Persa is our second holy hero, our second holy legendary hero from the Untold Tales portal. She is of the wizard class, interestingly, which is pretty good. She gets the chance to deal extra damage per active buffs that the enemies have. Pity, unfortunately, she doesn't benefit from that superior talent. I'm sure that one day we will see that for these heroes, but for now, no, and she doesn't get it, and she doesn't need it. So she is of the Nightmares family, funnily enough, because she doesn't look that nightmarish. But they do get a bonus, which is for 1 or 2 heroes, and it's a 50 or 75% chance to cast negative 10% mana generation for 3 turns on an enemy that deals special skill damage to the character. If the enemy's special skill defeats the character, the chance is 75 or 100%. Now, we are going to see why this is quite important for Persa, because it can work very well in conjunction with her special skill. They also have the boost for the Atlantis family heroes, and they have a passive. So her passive is a 50% chance to perform the following. So she deals an 80% damage to all enemies, and she gets plus 19% mana generation for 2 turns. So their passive and family bonus is all about impacting mana in a positive way from her side, and in a negative way for the whole of the enemy team if she receives damage from special skills. Also, that additional 80% damage to all enemies definitely helps. Now, in terms of stats, we're just going to whack the max power preview off. She's looking pretty staunch, actually. 978 on the attack, 1025 on the defense, and a measly, by comparison, 1501 on the health. So not as survivable, but her defensive stat is pretty damn good. The attack stat is excellent. So we'll see about how we should sort of look at embleming this hero in a moment once we have a look at her special skill. But for now, the stats are sort of, for the attack and defense, you don't really need to do anything there. For health, she is in need of some help. Now, if we do add the limit breaks, I mean, whoa, now we're talking. Over 1,300 on both the attack and the defense, and nearly 2,000 on the HP, which is insane. And she benefits from the attack up ether power. So at the beginning of the battle, she gets an increase in attack of 20% for 6 turns. Very good ether talent as well. So far, so good. Now, her special skill is called Ocean's Ruin, and it's running at the Changing Tides mana speed. So in case you don't know by now, the first special skill is cast at fast speed, and then the second is cast at average speed, and then it goes back to the first one, which is cast at fast speed, and so on and so forth. Now, the first sort of cast of this special, she will steal all dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distribute them on all allies. Well, that is a really cool skill. We've seen it from the hero of the month, Ithar, who's doing it at very fast speed, but the lacking damage really does work in against her, and that stealing of mana is quite good, but it's not quite as good as if there was some additional damage. So she steals all dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distributes them on allies. She then deals a whopping 455% damage to the target, and the target receives spreading corrosive poison for 4 turns. The spreading corrosive poison deals 292 poison damage and lowers the target's mana generation by 15% each turn, and this effect spreads to nearby enemies. Now, That is an extremely devastating effect. So just to explain exactly what's going to happen here, let's say you've got Ludwig and he's got his taunt up in the middle of the enemy team. If you fire off Persa, she's going to steal the taunt from Ludwig. She's going to then give him a 455% shot, and he's going to receive spreading corrosive poison for 4 turns. Now, the poison damage that deals 292 damage each turn, which is quite a lot of poison damage, nearly 300 per turn, will spread to the nearby enemies. So on the second turn, the flanks are going to get it if you don't manage to cleanse it, and on the third turn, the wings are going to get it if you don't manage to cleanse it. So before you know it, everybody's going to be receiving 300 poison damage per turn, and you're going to be pretty much wiping out a whole team. I mean, if you do pair this hero up, I would say with a hero like Matilda, even though she would be overwriting the poison damage, her poison damage is actually higher. In fact, I'm not sure if corrosive poison overwrites regular poison or whether they can both be there at the same time. I don't think so. I think the corrosive will overwrite the regular poison damage, but the increase, and in the right element, because Matilda is holy as well, would increase that damage by 50%. I think you could wipe a team pretty damn easily with her paired up with Matilda. But even on her own, she's going to be extremely impactful with that special skill. The other thing is also the corrosive poison not only deals that damage, but it also lowers the target's mana generation by 15% each turn. And I said when I looked at her family bonus to watch out for that, because they're going to be potentially getting a negative 10% mana generation for 3 turns anyway from the family bonus. Add this extra minus 15% each turn, and you've got negative 25% mana generation. And that also is going to last for 4 turns and spread to the nearby enemies on this one. So an extremely impactful hero, even though she does only hit 1. One risk factor that I do want to point out with Persa is she does deal quite a bit of damage. So if you dispel buffs from a target and the target is then killed by the 455% damage hit, that means that the corrosive poison is not going to apply. So you kind of want to plan it if you can to where you're not killing the target that you're hitting, but you're giving them a pretty good whack so that the poison damage can sort of do its work over the following 4 turns. That is one sort of caveat where she could potentially work against herself, in that she could be just a really good sniper who takes out a single enemy and doesn't leave any impact on the opposing team, which I think does balance this character out quite well. Now, on the second charge or second tide, she will again steal all dispellable buffs from the target and randomly distribute them on all allies, and deals 490% damage now to the target, and the target receives the spreading corrosive poison. The poison now deals 340 poison damage and lowers the target's mana generation by a huge 20% each turn. Yeah, that's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. And the effect again spreads to the nearby enemies. So in both charges, I mean, honestly, whether you're firing off at the first or the second, it doesn't matter too much. Just the damage increases, the poison damage increases, and the negative mana generation increases on the second charge. But either way, you've got yourself an amazing hero in Persa. If you do manage to summon her, she's going to be extremely impactful both on offense and on defense, and she is going to be an excellent hero, mark my words. What else was I going to say about her? I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about this hero. She is featured alongside Gestalt, who again is an incredible hero, and also alongside Thalassa, who's a really good hero as well. So it's a good mixture of heroes that we've got in this portal this time. So I do wish you guys all of the best of luck in your summons. Sorry about the rain again, but can't help it. I can't control the weather. So if you like this video, please do give us a thumbs up, drop us a like, send me your comments, and subscribe to the channel if you find the videos helpful. And I'll look forward to seeing you all again in the next video. Bye for now, guys.